Hey guys, and welcome to another video. Today we're going to take a look at Destiny 2 and everything we know so far, as well as my little critiques and thoughts about the game so far. We're going to start with guided games. This is essentially Bungie's solution to why half of their player base didn't even play the raids or nightfalls in Destiny 1. This is because we had no matchmaking, and what guided games is matchmaking. Is the most innovative thing so far that they have ever announced for Destiny 2, in my opinion. And what it is basically with the new introduction of clans, which are really big in Destiny 2. I'll explain a little bit more in a second. But with clans, a solo player can now search with matchmaking, guided games, for another group allocated with a clan to do a raid. So for example, if you are a solo player looking to do a raid, you will go into the raid, join in for matchmaking, and you will be given a list of clans. And what will happen is you'll get a description and the name of the clan, and you can accept or deny that clan, which is allocated to a group of players that are in that clan looking to do the raid as well. You can then search for the clan that you like, depending on what the description and the name of the clan is. For example, if you get a clan called Noob, and the description is, we suck at raiding, you might want to decline and look for a better group. So once you find the one you like, you press accept, and you're going to be grouped together with a bunch of players that are actually going to work together with you and understand your situation. And what I mean by that is this solves the biggest problem, in my opinion, in Destiny 1. That being the toxicity of DestinyLFG.com or .net, depending on what you were into. This solves the one problem that we always had. Everyone's saying, oh, you must have Galahorn to join the raid. 399 light or above. Must have done the raid already. Blah, blah, blah. And we're all searching for just the perfect person to join our group. That's gone. Because what they've done is, for a solo player that is new to the raids, they can opt in to a thing where they can choose to be a noob, a new player, never done the raid, someone experienced, or someone that is looking to lead and teach new players how to do the raid. For example, if you are a new player and you're looking to do a raid and you do not know how to do this raid already, you'll opt in as a noob basically. And what happens is it'll match you with a clan or clans on the list that all are looking for someone that is new. Because if you're on the other hand, a group of players, 5 to be exact, looking for one more player, you can say, we'll matchmake for someone new. So they have opted in to find someone new, and you've opted in to find people that know what they're doing. It'll match you together, and then this is where the magic happens. Because you both know what you're getting into, and no one's going to have a problem with you being a noob, and you're not going to have a problem with a bunch of douchebags who don't want you to be in their fucking group. You both already accepted this idea of being together, not knowing what to do. And this completely eliminates all the toxicity of Destiny LFG entirely. And it's amazing for our community, because not only will the player base get to play the raids now, you're also going to be matched with people that are completely willing to play them with you. You're never going to have a group that hates your guts and breaks up in 2 seconds. And speaking of breaking up, they also fixed that as well. If you're doing the raid and one person says, oh, sorry, gotta eat, gotta go, taking a smoke, whatever the hell they're doing, they leave, you can then matchmake to find one player, and it'll immediately sign you up with someone new. You can say, hey, we want an experienced guy, or we just want to teach one new guy. Doesn't really matter. You get to choose, and then you don't have to search on Destiny LFG for 6 hours. Next, we have an all-new campaign. New missions, new cinematics, new strikes. This is something we wanted from Destiny 1, but we never got. And honestly, Bungie has really put together all the things that we hated about Destiny 1 and fixed them in Destiny 2. Or at least that's what it looks like so far. With this, we have a new feature called Adventures. And what adventures are is a mini NPC story that'll lead you on, you guessed it, an adventure, and you will find loot items and other rewards at the end of these missions. But also, what these NPCs will do is they will mark your map with something called a lost sector. And what a lost sector is a area that is hidden unless you have the marker on the map. And when you go to this marker, you will find the entrance of a dungeon that will lead you through, like, I don't know, maybe a mini story, or it's just a dungeon with enemies where there's a boss at the end and loot when you kill that boss. That sounds amazing. Hopefully these lost sectors are randomly generated so we don't get bored of them and we can just keep doing lost sectors and patrol. It completely eliminates the boringness of patrol entirely. Because if I can go to Earth and just straight up chill around, find an NPC, hang out with him, find a lost sector, do a dungeon, get some good rewards, go search some more around, and let's say I've played the game for a while and I know everything about the map that I'm on. I could just go and play a whole bunch of lost sectors. But here's hoping that lost sectors will become very, 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 very important in the end game. Because if they're not, there's going to be no use of us doing them later on in the game, and they're going to become completely useless. So we're going to need lost sectors to give us relevant loot in the end game. Otherwise, they're going to be completely put on the side. Because no one's going to care about them, just like how things happen in Destiny 1. No one cares about Patrol right now. Up next, we have 4 all-new worlds, being Titan, Nessus, Io, and EDZ, also known as European Dead Zone. The European Dead Zone is apparently the largest map that they've ever created by a factor of 2, which sounds amazing, but we'll have to see how big it really is. There's going to be lots to explore everywhere, and they also said that behind every nook and cranny and every corner that you turn, you're going to find something to do and something to explore. So no longer are we going to turn the corner into a cave and find nothing there and get super bored while in patrol. There's going to be actual loot, there's going to be lore, there's going to be something for us to find, which sounds really, really, really awesome. But going over the planets, we're starting with Titan. Titan is a moon of Saturn. This is where Zavala goes after the collapse of the tower. We also know that there's no ground at all, and it's just a water planet, basically. And that sounds really, really cool to me. Next, we have Nessus, a Vex-controlled and transformed planet that they have completely taken over, and they're calling it a machine world, which apparently the Vex have multiple of, which is very interesting. So it's an entire planet completely derived of Vex. On top of that, that is where we're going to find Cade. Cade is on this planet trapped, and we have to go save him. And I've heard that from a Bungie executive that this is probably one of the most fun stories, probably because Cade is freaking hilarious, and I can't imagine him having a bad story. Moving on, we have Io. This is a moon of Jupiter, and this is where the Traveler last touched before moving to Earth. This is also where Ikora is, and where we will please hopefully get a lot of lore on the Traveler, which I see happening for sure. Last but not least, we have EDZ, European Dead Zone. And this is obviously the largest map they've created, but it's also where our social space is going to be. And this is on Earth as well. We're going to find out a whole bunch of things, and we're going to discover lots and lots of lore, hopefully. And it's going to be extremely interesting, and I really, really, really hope there's a lot of mini NPC stories, because it looks so much fun. On top of that, there's also a broken piece of the Traveler that is in the EDZ, and I'm assuming that it's corrupted the area, and we're going to go explore it. Maybe we'll find out some more lore on the Traveler on top of anything we find out on IO. It's really, we don't know what's going to happen story-wise. We don't know if we're going to start on EDZ, move to Nessus, then Titan, then IO, or if we're going to start on, for some reason, Titan. We can even start on IO, the freaking Traveler. But since the tower collapsed, we're most likely going to fight in the tower, then move on to EDZ, and then depending on how the story plans out, we'll move to Titan Nessus then IO later on. This sounds like so much fun, and I am super, super, super hyped. Next, we have a new weapon loadout system that was announced by Bungie, and they are super excited for this apparently, because now, instead of primaries, specials, and heavies, we now have kinetic, energy, and power weapons. And what this is essentially, kinetic is a regular bullet shooting weapon, energy is elemental kinetic weapons, which means it is the same as kinetic weapons, but they're elemental only, so they'll have solar or arc on them, for example. And power will have rockets, shotguns, snipers, grenade launchers, and any other weapons that are bunched into that category. And yes, our poor snipers are now going to be heavy weapons, essentially, which I think solves a huge problem in Destiny, but I'll explain that in a second. For the slots, we're going to have 2 primary slots, basically, being kinetic and energy. So you can run 2 hand cannons, which has kind of been hinted to that we're going to be able to dual wield. We're not sure because a executive of Bungie did say that some of the combinations of the weapons in the first 2 slots might have interesting effects. So we're only speculating that it could be dual wielding, but it's still very interesting. And then we have power at the end, which is our rocket launchers as always, but now we have shotguns and snipers in there, and our grenade launchers as well, which is very cool. But I don't know how this is going to turn out for PvE, because a lot of people are complaining that they like to hang out and snipe things and whatever, and they don't want to wait for heavy ammo just to shoot their sniper and all that. But I think it's actually solving a huge problem in Destiny, mainly in PvP, because right now shotgun snipers and the whole way it's set up is kind of ruining Destiny in the community's opinion. I don't think it's that bad, but honestly, seeing how a sniper is going to be rare in the Crucible and everything's going to be focused on primary gunplay first and foremost, and the time to kill has been reduced, or no, extended actually, where it's going to take longer to kill somebody, it's really going to get us into a lot of 1v1 fights, and gunplay is going to be way more fun in PvP. Moving on, we have new classes, but they're removing our old subclasses, which is pretty sad, because we are no longer having Defender Titan, Sunsinger Warlock, and Blade Dancer. But what these 3 new subclasses add to the game is basically a different take on the Titan, Sunsinger, Blade Dancer, etc. Because it's pretty much the same thing, especially the freaking Arc Strider Hunter, because that one is basically Blade Dancer, but I'll get to that in a second. Let's start with Sentinel Titan. Basically, you're a Titan, you have a Captain America shield, and you could throw it and shit. It's really cool and awesome. Then you have Dawnblade Warlock. You're a Warlock, and you have a fucking sword that shoots fire while you're in the air. That's amazing. That sounds like so much fun, and it looks really fucking cool too. And it actually looks like it's going to be a really useful ability on top of everything else. But then we have the Arcstrider Hunter, which is kind of a letdown in my opinion, because it's just Blade Dancer. That's all it is. It's Blade Dancer with a staff, and that's it. But it does change it up a little bit. You kind of do flips and spins and backflips and whatever, which changes for PvP, because no longer will a Blade Dancer run at you with their head always in your sights. They'll be flipping around and doing backflips and shit, and it's going to be almost impossible to shoot them in the head. So it's going to make it a little bit more competitive in PvP, but that's pretty much all it does. And I'm pretty disappointed, because I am a Hunter main and always will be, and I kind of want to be a Dawnblade Warlock now, because that looks so fucking cool. Even though we lost our old subclasses, we're also gaining back many abilities that come from them. So for the Defender Titan, we might not have a bubble anymore, but a Defender Titan can now put up a front-facing shield, which is kind of like a bubble, I guess, just not 360, it's going to be just in front of you. And the Hunter and Warlock have something similar to this as well, like a regeneration shield. It doesn't really block bullets, but it heals you, and that's for the Warlock, which is pretty interesting. It's kind of taking away and giving us something new. And it's going to change up Destiny. I think it's for the better, honestly, because it's getting rid of self-res, which, in my opinion, kind of ruined a lot of parts of the games, and honestly, that's how we cheesed, like, pretty much every boss in Destiny 1. So Bungie probably wanted to get rid of that. And then Defender Titan was pretty much used in every single raid as a very solid tactic to get through certain parts, almost every part. So they're getting rid of that. They want us to play the raids properly, in my opinion. And I think that's really awesome, because I got kind of sick of cheeses. Although it was fun to just do the raid quickly with a cheese, you don't have to deal with all the crap that a raid comes with. You kind of get rid of the fun as well while doing that. So I think Bungie made a really good decision here, and it's going to really help out how we play the game, and it's going to make things a lot more fun. Now we finally get to the Crucible, where all game modes have been turned into 4v4 across the board. Honestly, I think this was great for the game, and it sounds like a lot of fun, but I only have one downside, and that's when I play casual Destiny, I like to go into 6v6 and just not have to worry about a really competitive scene and just fuck around, test out my weapons in PvP, play with a bunch of other players that aren't really giving a shit either. It was kind of fun to just relax, and it was very casual. For casual players, that was really the choice for them. But now we have 4v4 everywhere, which means everything's going to be focused on competitive play, working together, and really focusing on objectives, which I think is amazing and great. That's awesome. I think that's the most fun I'll probably have in Destiny, other than the raids and stuff and the story. Actually, everything's going to be fun in Destiny. But having everything 4v4 sounds like a really good way to get the game into a competitive standing. And on top of that, we're not sure yet, but we might have freaking ranked play in Destiny, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I really hope they add that. But for casual players, it's kind of going to suck. But oh well. We also know something about Trials of Osiris. It's pretty much been changed to something called Trials of the Nine, which is awesome because the Nine we know nothing about. So we're definitely going to get some lore on the Nine. And on top of that, who do we know that is part of the Nine? That would be Xur. And what does Xur do? He gives us exotics. So maybe Trials of Osiris changing into Trials of the Nine is going to be really heavily exotic based and probably a whole lot more competitive. They also said they made a few little changes to Trials of Osiris and how it's going to work. But we'll probably find out more at E3 or in the beta. We're not sure. If we could play Trials of the Nine in the beta, that would be amazing. Like, super amazing. On top of all this, we have one slight letdown, and that's that we have peer-to-peer connection. Kinda. I say kinda because it was just released recently that peer-to-peer is not going to be the main focus of Destiny 2. They have this new different connection type where it's dedicated servers mixed together with peer-to-peer. It basically puts us all in little clouds and we can share good connection with each other. And they said it's going to make Destiny a lot better in PvP. It's going to keep us from lagging out, jumping everywhere. They didn't confirm that's never going to happen again, but they did say that the connections are going to be better and we're never going to ever have to deal with host migration, which is good. So we don't have pure peer-to-peer. We have some kind of twisted version of it, which is better than having pure peer-to-peer. So I'm happy with it. As long as they actually addressed it, and as long as we have a better connection than Destiny 1, it's just going to improve the game entirely and make things a lot better. Moving on, we have the release and announcement of the PC edition for Destiny 2, which is really awesome because it's going to have 4K resolution, be able to run on an uncapped frame rate if your computer can handle it. And we also know that the specs are going to be pretty much playable on any computer. So even if you have a toaster, you're probably going to be able to play Destiny 2 on PC. But there's one huge downside, which I think is fucking bullshit, honestly. But at the same time, it kind of made me happy, and I'll explain that in a second, because PC has been delayed. It will come out sometime after the release of Destiny 2 on consoles. This is because PS4 is greedy and they want money. But to be honest, they say it's because they need some kind of problem fixing issues. It's a whole bunch of bullshit. Honestly, they just fucking want everyone to stay on PS4, and if you want to play day one, that's where you're going, PS4. So just like how the beta is only on PS4, you're going to be able to play Destiny 2 day one on PS4. And there's also PlayStation exclusives for PS4. Yeah, PC's looking like the not place to play. But if you're willing to wait a little bit after the launch, I'm definitely going to be playing on PC for sure. But I think I'll have to main PS4 only because everything's going to be ahead of PC, which sucks. But on the bright side, we could get really lucky and PC will be launched with PS4. It's not confirmed to come out 100% after consoles, but it's really, really, really highly possible. And it's about at the 90 percentile range, in my opinion. And it kind of sucks, but at the same time, I'm okay with it, only because I kind of wanted to stick to PS4, and I was scared to move over to PC because I didn't want to lose all the players that were playing on PS4, but I don't have to worry about that now, I guess. But either way, hopefully the PC edition comes out maybe 1 week. Please be only 1 week after the consoles, because that way we'll have PC right away and we're not waiting months for it to come out, because that will really destroy the PC edition. As well as on top of all this for the PC, it was announced that PC will be available only on battle.net, where we had the CEO tell us that blah blah blah, we're gonna be only able to buy it there, and it's basically just really interesting. There's not much else to say. It's gonna be really good for one reason. It's because hopefully, I'm not 100% sure on this, but battle.net has amazing, actually probably the best anti-cheat right now, and hopefully that'll be brought into Destiny. And then on PC, we're gonna have no problems with cheaters, because whenever you bring a game from console to PC, you're always gonna have cheaters, and it really, really sucks to play a multiplayer game on PC with a bunch of people hacking and fucking killing you with a knife from across the map. I know this because I played H1Z1, and that was the fucking worst. So please, Destiny, do not fucking turn into H1Z1 hacking. Ban that fucking hacker and fucking get rid of everyone in our community that tries to hack PC. Please. Please. That's all I have to say about that. Lastly, we have a ton, and I mean a metric fucking ton, of quality of life improvements. And this is huge, because this is probably the biggest problem in Destiny 1 aside from no one raiding. Because fucking hate going to orbit, we hate doing things over and over again. We got all kinds of improvements, like a new map with a timer for public events and a way to actually go from one place to another knowing where we fucking are. Assuming that we don't already memorize the map, because that's what we did in Destiny 1. But at the beginning, that would be really useful. We have no more orbit, which means from any one planet, we can go straight from there to another planet right away. We just go into our menus, hit the planet that we want to go to, and it'll fucking fly us straight there. No more fucking waiting in orbit. We're not going from planet to orbit to planet to orbit to planet to orbit to tower to planet to orbit to whatever. We're going straight to planet to planet to planet, and that's where we're going to get all of our quality of life improvements from. Because trust me, that was the biggest grievance I had in Destiny 1, and thank God they're changing it. We also have guided games, which I spoke about already, which is huge quality of life improvement, and the adventures and lost sectors, which are really cool too. Hopefully that means we're going to be playing the game for a lot longer, and it fixes a little bit of the end game, which is a big problem in Destiny 1. In any type of game like this, end game is a problem. So let's really hope that at E3 they announce something particular to end game, so that we really get reassured that we're not going to have to deal with any end game problems and we're going to get burnt out. But they also said their DLC schedule is going to be a lot better. It's going to be coming out very quickly. So we're going to get the game, and then not too long after that, we're going to have our next DLC, which means literally nobody is going to put down Destiny 2. Hopefully. Overall, I think Destiny 2 will be an amazing game, and it's definitely going to be a game to look out for in 2017. And honestly, Bungie fixed everything in Destiny 1 that I didn't like. And thank God, the quality of life improvements were there, because that was probably the biggest thing that I was looking for. Thanks for watching. You guys are the best. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you. Peace.